Have you ever gotten a cheap DVD set, mostly because you wanted only a couple of titles on it? Well, I decided to do that with this bargain set of Universal family titles. This is a pretty common phenomenon for studios to include some of their lesser selling films and make a couple of extra dollars. I got this mostly because it had The Wizard, The Borrowers, and Matinee. However, I've decided to make the most of it, and in this 10-part miniseries, I'll be watching and reviewing the 10 films on this set. 5 of these I've already seen. The other 5 I haven't. So I'll be going back and forth on revisits and first viewings. I've chosen to start with a film I saw in its original release and haven't seen in about 2 decades. I was curious to see how well it held up, and that would be A Simple Wish. To be honest, I barely remembered a thing about A Simple Wish, and revisiting it, I can see why. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just forgettable. Are there any solid things here? Yes, I was kind of invested in the main storyline of Mara Wilson wanting her father to get a major part in a Broadway musical. This feels like a genuine family unit, and Wilson does a solid job in the role of Annabelle. Of course, since Mara Wilson has revealed a lot about her real persona compared to her on-screen roles, one does start to wish filmmakers tapped more into her talents. She was a good young actress, but often typecast in cutesy girly roles. Now that we know how funny, sharp, and witty she is, and that she was more of a tomboy off-screen, one wishes her characters had more of that. This film literally introduces her wearing pink overalls, which is hilariously in contrast to the snarky Mara Wilson active on Twitter. That aside, there is a rooting interest in her father getting the part in a musical version of The Tale of Two Cities, which I'm not sure if it's meant to be a parody of Les Miserables, or I'm just giving the filmmakers too much credit. I also thought there was a bit of invention in showing the fairy godmother society. We don't see a whole lot of it though, and the film goes the bare minimum of exploring Kathleen Turner's switch to the dark side and what exactly her evil plan is. She just wants her wand back to take over the world? At least Kathleen Turner has fun chewing the scenery. The biggest problem with A Simple Wish is really Martin Short. Short can be funny, but he's trying way too hard to make the jokes land. So much of the humor surrounding him consists of pratfalls and how much of a bad fairy godmother he is. The main joke with him is, he's a man, and women are normally fairy godmothers in fairy tales. However, I think Terry Garr would have been a much better choice to play a clumsy and absent-minded fairy godmother. She has a small role in A Simple Wish, and is pretty much wasted. Why would you hire Terry Garr and only give her 5 minutes of screen time? The film also loses the plot starting with the 3rd act. The filmmakers create a ticking clock device when the father is turned into a statue, and they have to reverse the spell before midnight. Yet the characters waste time by sabotaging another actor's audition and doing goofy magical things. The story pretty much stops when the heroes get to Kathleen Turner's house. The special effects take over at this point, and we spend forever in this mansion as the heroes and villain do battle. The only fun element here is seeing early computer-generated effects by Blue Sky. Yes, that Blue Sky. Rio and Ferdinand director Carlos Sedana is even credited as the CG effects supervisor. A horse that's been turned into a mouse feels right out of the Blue Sky wheelhouse. So seeing the early effects work from the house that Scrap built is neat to see. In the end, A Simple Wish is just a sort of mediocre diversion. There's just a surprising lack of urgency and too much time is spent on Martin Short acting goofy. But there is a bit of charm to be found here and there. I actually think there's a really good film to be made out of the world of fairy godmothers. Maybe a movie about where they come from and how they get assigned to certain people. So that's 1 down, 9 to go. Next up is Matt LeBlanc and a baseball playing monkey. That could be a fun one. See you next time.